Hello, this is Jeff Berry with Farmland Advisors, and this is a short video on the Slough Hunting Club, which has just become available for sale. Slough is approximately 892 acres with 2.5 miles of frontage on the Langell River in northeastern Arkansas. As this video and the pictures show, Slough has an unusual degree of diversity of habitat, from the flooded fields to the green timber reservoir to about 300 acres of green timber that flood naturally on the Langell River, to the cypress breaks and tupelo breaks as well. Slough also has a 20-acre lake and an ideal home site, which is on the ridge looking over the lake and the green tree reservoir. In addition to the duck hunting, Slough has also been all-around family recreational property with the woods, the deer hunting, turkey hunting, dove hunting, and fishing. For more information on Slough Hunting Club, which is located about 50 minutes from the Memphis Bridge and a little more than an hour from Little Rock, please go to our website, farmlandadvisors.com. That's farmlandadvisors.com, or call Jeff Berry at 901-489-9119. Thank you. Here's a view of one of the cypress sloughs, which is located along the Langell River. Here's the green timber reservoir right below the house site. Here's a view of one of the better green timber holes in the 300-acre North Woods along the Langell River. Slough also has about 50 acres of pine, which you see here, which is in CRP. Slough also has about 220 acres of cropland, which provides more habitat diversity and some cash flow for the hunting club. 10%, the lower 10% or 20-30 acres of this is basically this marsh, tupelo, cypress, gravel road, which is the entrance. We're looking west, Slough, towards the highway where we come in. And this is some of the ag ground. This is all up high on the ridge. Most of the property is in the Langell River bottoms. But this is part of the property that's up high on the ridge. I think this would make a great dove field, and they have had dove fields in the past which did well, because you've got the way the fields are shaped, and the gravel road and the power line, and then you've got the lake and all the river bottoms just right below here. Okay, I'm up here on the ridge still. I think this area would make a great house site. It stays out of the flooded area even last year and last year's record flood. Pretty oak trees, and it looks down on the lake, which is down in the river bottom. It's about a 20-acre lake. Here's the green timber reservoir right below the house site. About 175 acres, and we're looking east now towards the Langell River. And just right over here, about 40 yards away, is the 20-acre lake. Okay, we're in the green timber reservoir still, kind of on the eastern end. Here's one of the duck holes. Looks like there's a good bit of millet coming up in there. And there's a blind there. And you can see the levee. This is really on the eastern end of the green timber reservoir. The levee is right there, which they use to flood, and the Langell is just on the other side of that, back in the trees. Now we're looking back south. Okay, we're in the green tree reservoir still. Here's another one of the duck holes. Now we're looking back west again towards the Langell River. This hole's probably about 500 yards away from the one we just saw, which is on the eastern and northeastern end of the green tree. Okay, we're still now on another hole in the south end of the green tree. This whole south end of the green tree is really a kind of a marsh, swamp, cypress, a few tupelo in here. It's a nice size hole. Langell's a couple hundred yards there, due east. Okay, we're coming down the road here that goes along the ridge on the western end of the property. Okay, we're down now looking at the northeast field. We call it the north field, but the tree line you see is basically the Langell River, and there is a water control structure down on that end. And currently, this field will flood basically from that water control structure across the field. You can see a low, actually a pit out there in the field, and then it'll keep flooding back across this bottom to the deadening, the finger we call it, about 30-acre deadening finger of flooded woods. I think a great project for this property to take it to another level would be to do some leveling and be able to flood all the way back along the tree line on the Langell. Here's a view of the south field. There's a pit out in the field. This is really their best field hole. There's a pit right in there. And we're looking, as you look to the south and southwest, there's a Tupelo break right on the edge of this field, which is what they leave as the rest area here at Cocoa Slough. And you can also, there's a blind on that tree line, and when you flood this field out, you can hunt off of that tree line as well. And then here's kind of the upper end of the finger, the deadening, where it hasn't flooded as much. And there's a little road that goes along these woods. One option would be to take this road, which serves as a levee, and move it back in the woods where you can hunt off of this tree line, and particularly hunt that point, which I think would be a great spot. And here's a view of the south, the upper end of the south field, kind of looking at the southeast line, but you can see the beans starting to grow. And there's a well up on this ridge that they use to, they don't really use it to irrigate the fields, it's not level enough, they use it to irrigate this hole here, the south field. Okay, we're at the point of this south field with the woods, looking back to the Tupelo break to the south, the rest area, and then coming back across. Now you can kind of see the deadening, a couple hundred yards out there, the finger deadening, and this curves through the field, basically splits this south field and the north field by the river. The river is at the green at the oak trees, you can see. And then it'll wind all the way back into this tree line here at the point at the south field. And I really think, and this is high and dry, beautiful oak trees. I'd really look into putting a levee in here where you could flood this timber and control it and hunt this point, this tree line out in the south field. Okay, we're looking across the bean field here at the deadening, looking east. You can see the lily pads coming up in there, it's still got water. And then the Langell River, the oak trees, back a couple hundred yards behind that. I would also, another option would be to add some more water on this deadening, would be to do some leveling for 30-40 yards in the lower areas of these fields along each side of the deadening. So then you would add more water there and add the field habitat in there. The deadening's been one of the best duck holes on the property the last several years. Okay, we're back in some of the oak timber up on the ridge. Right here, we're in the southwest corner of the property. Okay, we're back in the Tupelo break they use as the rest area. This is kind of the little hole that they'll hunt on. They don't hunt this, but maybe once a year, twice a year. It holds thousands of ducks. It's about 60 acres. Okay, still on these woods, oak trees in the south end of the property. An old deer stand right there. I just seen a couple turkey feathers here on this trip today. There's one right there. We're down here now. Here's another view of the cypress break, about a 30-acre circular hole here on the, usually they walk out from where I just walked in, walk out around these couple bigger cypress trees. See willows growing up and little cypress growing up in here. We're on the east side of the deadening now, looking at the deadening. And the field will flood out here to this levee road that we're on. Now we're looking at the north field. It's really on the northeast line along the Langill. There's a pit right here. This is their other really good field area. And this will flood. It will flood all the way to the Langill right there. There's a structure back in there. But I think taking and widening this hole out and shaving off some of the land along the Langill woods, it's already good, but I think it can take it to another level. Okay, we're along the Langill in the north field, and this is a low pocket. I'm going to say it's about 20 acres, 30 acres, that could easily be developed, I believe, to hold water and flood and plant food right along the Langill. Okay, we're looking at the Langill River here. It's at its summer low, of course, and we're on the east end of the property. And there you go north, about 2.5, 3 miles of Langill frontage on the property. Okay, we're along the Langill at another one of the low areas where I would do some improving, where I can hold water up to the trees. Here's an existing levee going along this control structure right here. So they're able to hold another bit of water out into the field. Now looking towards the deadening, and there's a pit out there which we looked at a little bit from the other side. And then as you keep looking back east towards the deadening, and you can see the water, that's the other hole in this north field, and then the deadening there, and then there's the field on the other side. But I think you could just shave off a little bit of this land around the river here as well, and really have some good field hunting opportunities backing up to the Langill River. Okay, here's a cypress hole along the Langill. Here's the slough that's down in the green tree. I'm up on the levee now on the southeast corner of the green tree. And as you can see on the maps, it's kind of a slough low area back here. We've looked at it from most all the angles now. There's a view of some of the hardwood timber along the Langill, just on the east side of the green tree. That's probably a 100-yard stretch here. Some of the time this levee that goes along the green tree is 10, 20 yards from the Langill, and sometimes you have a bigger stretch of hardwoods like this. Okay, we're back now looking at the duck hole in the green tree reservoir up on the nears of the levee, and you can see the river out through there. As you can see, this hole's basically right on the river. Here's another view of the 20-acre lake. You can see kind of the tractor up there towards the ridge by the house site. And they've used this lake and managed it for both fishing and duck hunting. I think one good duck option would be to draw it down every year, July or August, and fly millet in. Here's what we call the North Woods Cocoa Slough. It's up on the north end, and about 300 acres along the Langill. This is not managed, so it floods naturally. Standard year about half the year, generally the latter half of duck season. And I'm on the levee that we've been on that goes along the Langill they use for the green tree. Okay, we're on the north line of the property now, looking out at the North Woods. Okay, here's one of the duck holes in the North Woods. This is, I believe, the one that the picture from the PDF is on. They had some good hunts in here this year. See the natural millet growing. Again, for more information on Cocoa Slough, please go to our website, farmlandadvisors.com, or you can call Jeff Berry at 901-489-9119. 901-489-9119. Thank you.